You reach into your car, wrap your hand around the steering wheel, and there is this moment where your palm just sticks slightly to the surface, not enough to be dramatic, but enough to be unmistakable. That faintly tacky resistance of a leather wheel that has absorbed months of hand lotion and palm sweat and dead skin cells until the entire surface has developed this greasy, almost shellacked quality where it catches the sunlight at certain angles and gives off this deeply unpleasant shine that makes it look less like premium leather and more like the handle of a fry basket at a fast food restaurant. And if you run your thumbnail along the edge of the stitching, you will see a dark, waxy buildup packed into every groove and seam, gray-brown, compressed grime that has been accumulating since the last time someone cleaned this interior properly. And the seats are the same story, that gradual darkening of the leather along the bolsters and the headrest where your body makes the most contact, a greasy patina that the sunlight loves to expose on a bright morning when you are sitting in traffic and you glance over at the passenger seat and realize your interior looks genuinely filthy in a way that washing the outside of the car does absolutely nothing to fix. And so you do what any responsible car owner does. You go to the auto parts store or you order online and you spend $20 on one of those premium leather care sprays with the elegant matte black bottle and the clinical font and the professional detailing brand name that implies. Some chemist in a lab coat spent years perfecting this formula specifically for automotive leather surfaces. And you bring it home and you clean your steering wheel, and when you are done, the car smells like artificial lavender and something that is supposed to evoke a high end car dealership. And you sit down, grip the wheel, and it still feels slightly slimy. Not as bad as before, maybe, but the tackiness is still there under the perfume. The shine along the bolster is still there. The grime in the stitching is still visible. And you have just spent $20 to make your car smell like a department store candle while accomplishing about 40% of the cleaning job. And the worst part is that a week later, the sticky feeling has already started coming back, and you are standing there wondering if there is something fundamentally wrong with your leather that makes it impossible to get truly clean. Wondering if you need to spend even more on a stronger product or a professional detailing service, and the answer is no, you do not need to spend more. You need to stop spending entirely on this category of product because the secret to dissolving years of compacted skin oil and steering wheel sludge off automotive leather is sitting in your kitchen cabinet right now, and it costs approximately $1. And it is not a cleaning spray or a detailing solution or any kind of automotive product at all. It is a bottle of standard plain white vinegar. And the reason white vinegar does what a $20 leather cleaner cannot is rooted in basic electrochemistry that the detailing industry would very much prefer you never look into. And I am going to explain every single detail of that chemistry so that you never feel compelled to walk down that car care aisle again. But before I do, I need you to subscribe to this channel right now, this second, because what this channel does is take the overpriced automotive product industry apart piece by piece and show you exactly what you are paying for and exactly what they are leaving out. And the leather cleaning market is one of the most egregious examples of consumer exploitation in the entire car care space. These luxury interior cleaning brands are selling you a bottle of heavily diluted soap combined with synthetic fragrance compounds and a small amount of conditioning agent, and they are charging you $20 for the privilege of applying something that is chemically weaker than what is already under your kitchen sink. They know that their formula will make your leather smell clean without fully removing the underlying sebum and oil buildup, and they know that this means the surface will recontaminate faster than properly cleaned leather would, which means you run out of product sooner and you buy another bottle sooner. And that cycle of underperformance and repeat purchasing is not an accident. It is the business model. So subscribe, stay in this community, and let me show you what acidic chemistry actually does to leather grime at a molecular level. Because once you understand the mechanism, you will never look at these overpriced sprays the same way again. The disgusting shiny buildup on your steering wheel and seat bolsters is primarily composed of human sebum. Sebum is the oily, waxy substance that your sebaceous glands produce continuously, and it coats your skin surface at all times. Every time your hand grips the steering wheel, it transfers a microscopic film of sebum onto the leather surface, and over weeks and months, these films layer on top of each other and begin to polymerize slightly under heat, bonding to the leather pores and forming that thick, tacky patina that you can feel and see. And the reason soap and water struggle to remove heavy sebum buildup is that sebum is a nonpolar lipid molecule. It is fundamentally hydrophobic, meaning it does not want to interact with water. It forms tight nonpolar bonds with the porous surface of the leather rather than mixing with any water based cleaning solution you try to introduce. And this is where white vinegar becomes chemically superior to every soap based leather cleaner on the market. White vinegar contains between 5 and 8% acetic acid, and acetic acid is a small polar molecule with a very specific electrochemical property that makes it perfect for attacking sebum deposits on porous leather surfaces. When you apply a diluted acetic acid solution to a leather surface that is contaminated with sebum and skin oils, the acetic acid molecules are small enough to penetrate into the leather pores alongside the existing oil deposits, and once they are in proximity to the oily buildup, they act as what chemists call a polar wedge. Acetic acid is amphiphilic in its behavior at low concentrations, meaning it has both polar and nonpolar characteristics. It can form weak interactions with the nonpolar sebum chains while simultaneously maintaining its polar hydrogen bonding network with the moisture in the leather, and this dual interaction allows the acetic acid to effectively insert itself between the sebum molecules and the leather substrate, breaking the adhesive van der Waals forces and electrostatic interactions that are holding the grease against the leather pores. Once these molecular bonds are disrupted, the sebum loses its grip on the leather surface, and it becomes suspended at the interface, where it can be physically lifted away with a microfiber cloth, and the result is a level of degreasing that no diluted soap formula can match. Because soap requires mechanical agitation and rinsing to remove nonpolar molecules, while acetic acid breaks the bond chemically before you even start. Scrubbing. And this is why your steering wheel feels genuinely clean after a vinegar wipe in a way it never does after a lavender scented detailing spray. Now, let me tell you what those $20 all surface interior cleaners are actually doing to your leather every time you use them. Because beyond the underperformance issue, there is a long term structural damage mechanism built into their formula that the brand will never disclose in their marketing copy. Premium automotive leather cleaners and interior detailing sprays almost universally contain significant concentrations of isopropyl alcohol or ethanol as a primary cleaning and quick dry agent, and alcohol is genuinely effective at dissolving oils and evaporating quickly without leaving residue, which is why the surface looks clean immediately after application. But the problem is that alcohol is not selective in what it dissolves. Your factory automotive leather and the vinyl components adjacent to it are kept supple and flexible by a combination of natural moisture content and synthetic plasticizer compounds that are integrated into the material during manufacturing. These plasticizers are what give the leather its soft, pliable feel and its resistance to cracking under the mechanical stress of someone sitting down and standing up and twisting in the seat thousands of times per year. And alcohol aggressively dissolves and strips these plasticizers along with the surface oil it is targeting. Every application of a high alcohol interior spray pulls a small but measurable amount of plasticizer out of your leather permanently. And as these plasticizers are depleted over repeated cleaning sessions, the leather begins to lose its flexibility at a microscopic level. The material becomes progressively stiffer and more brittle along the grain, and the mechanical stress of normal use that the leather used to absorb elastically now begins to create microfractures in the surface that gradually propagate into visible cracking along the wear lines and seams. And the cruel irony is that leather that has been stripped of its plasticizers becomes more porous and more absorbent, which means it pulls in sweat and skin oil faster after each cleaning, meaning you feel compelled to clean it more often, which strips more plasticizers, which accelerates the cracking, which is a perfectly engineered consumption cycle that ends with you either living with cracked, deteriorating seats or paying an upholstery shop to restore or replace panels that were destroyed by the product you trusted to protect. To them. Now, here is the exact protocol for cleaning your leather correctly with white vinegar, and there is a critical warning embedded in this process that you need to hear before you begin, because ignoring it will cause real damage to your interior. Start by getting a clean, empty spray bottle and combining equal parts plain white vinegar and warm water. The dilution is important. You are working with a mild acid and you do not want to apply it at full concentration. The 50% dilution brings the pH to a range that is effective for breaking sebum bonds while remaining safe for the leather surface chemistry. Once your solution is mixed, you do not spray it directly onto the leather. You mist it onto a clean microfiber cloth until the cloth is damp but not soaking. The distinction matters, and I will explain exactly why in a moment. Take the damp microfiber and rub it firmly across the sticky or soiled areas using short overlapping strokes. You will notice within about 15 seconds that the cloth begins picking up a brown or gray residue that is the dissolved sebum and skin buildup lifting out of the leather pores. Continue rubbing for 30 seconds per section, and you will watch the shiny, greasy patina disappear in real time and the natural leather texture and color return underneath. Work your way across the steering wheel and seats methodically in small sections rather than trying to cover large areas at once. And now the critical warning that you must follow without exception. Immediately after wiping each cleaned section with the vinegar solution, you must follow it with a separate clean cloth that is dampened with plain water. Wipe the clean surface thoroughly with this water cloth to neutralize and remove the acetic acid residue, and then immediately buff the area dry with a third dry microfiber cloth. Do not leave the leather damp, and do not allow the vinegar solution to pool in or soak into the stitching seams. This is not optional, and here is the specific reason it is not optional. The stitching that holds your seat panels and steering wheel covering together is not made of natural thread. Factory automotive stitching is almost universally made from synthetic nylon or polyester thread, and nylon is a polyamide polymer. The amide bonds in the nylon backbone are vulnerable to acid hydrolysis, meaning that prolonged exposure to even mild acetic acid at higher concentrations can slowly cleave these polymer chains and weaken the thread. If you apply the vinegar solution directly to the leather in heavy pools rather than through a cloth, or if you let the solution soak into the seam areas and sit wet against the stitching for extended periods, the acid concentration in the thread can reach a level where hydrolysis begins. And this is not a damage you will see immediately. It is cumulative structural weakening that becomes apparent when the thread is subjected to the mechanical stress of someone sitting heavily in the seat or gripping the wheel, and panels that should withstand years of normal use will begin to split along the seam lines in a way that looks like simple wear, but is actually acid-accelerated polymer degradation. Keep the application on the leather surface using a cloth, neutralize promptly, buff dry, and this is a non-issue, but skip the neutralization step or let it pool in the stitching, and you will eventually be sitting in a seat that is coming apart at the seams, literally. Once you have cleaned and dried the leather properly, you should follow with a dedicated leather conditioner, and this is the one product in the interior care category that actually earns its place in your regimen. A quality conditioner replaces the surface moisture and provides a thin protective film over the pores that slows sebum absorption and makes future cleaning dramatically easier. So let me give you the final picture in the clearest terms possible. On one side of this equation, you have a $20 alcohol-based interior spray that smells expensive, removes surface oil while leaving the underlying sebum deposit mostly intact, and strips plasticizers from your leather on every application until it is brittle, dry, and cracking along the seams. And on the other side, you have a $1 bottle of white vinegar that cuts a 50-50 solution with warm water, uses mild acetic acid chemistry to break the actual molecular bond between sebum and leather pores, lifts years of compacted grime out of your steering wheel and seat bolsters in 30 seconds flat without a single synthetic fragrance or alcohol molecule to damage the material, and costs you essentially nothing per application for the next 6 months of clean driving. The $20 bottle is destroying your interior slowly while underperforming every single time you use it. The $1 bottle is doing genuine molecular chemistry in under a minute. So share this video right now with that person in your life who drives around with a shiny, greasy steering wheel and no idea why their $20 spray never actually fixes it. Send it to the friend who just bought a used car and is about to spend real money on interior detailing products they absolutely do not need. Tag the family member who keeps a bottle of premium leather spray in their trunk and wonders why their seats still feel sticky a week after cleaning. Because the fix is already in their kitchen, and the only thing standing between them and genuinely clean leather is knowing the right chemistry to use.